Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here, covering new PC releases for the week of May 20th to the 26th. It's been a couple weeks since the last episode, and luckily we are back on track with this, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest PC releases. Let's go ahead and get started. On Tuesday, May the 21st, which is today, we're seeing the release of Resident Evil Revelations. This is a story-driven Resident Evil title that actually first launched on the 3DS back in January of 2012. So that was a little over a year ago now. It's part of the main Resident Evil story and features Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. An HD port is now available that's going to be coming to the PC, and that will be priced at $49.99. Now, I've heard mixed things about this game. Some people are saying that it was pretty good. Some people are saying that it was about average. But either way, it appears to not be terrible. Now, I'm not sure how the port of this game is going to be, and I'm also not sure if I'll be taking a look at it. It is fairly hefty priced, honestly, for a game that used to be a 3DS title, although who knows, there might still be a ton of content that's really good in there. Moving on, for the other release today, we are seeing Fast and Furious Showdown. This is a racing game based on the Fast and Furious movie franchise. It's going to bring some of the story from the earlier movies together as a lead into Fast 6, the upcoming movie. I don't know what to expect from this game. Video footage and screenshots look pretty terrible. I'm not expecting much, I guess is what I should say. It doesn't look like it's going to be that great of a game, but hey, who knows? That will be available for $29.99. Coming out on Wednesday, May the 22nd, we are seeing Call of Juarez Gunslinger. This is the next entry in the Call of Juarez franchise. Gunslinger will be returning to the Wild West and features legendary outlaws such as Billy the Kid, Pat Garrett, and Jesse James. You know, Call of Juarez has been a franchise that's seen its ups and downs. Some of the best games in the series were Western themed, and so hopefully, now that they're going back to that Western theme, we'll return to a solid game. So this is a first-person shooter set in the Western environment, and I'm really excited for this. I'm not sure if that is solely due to my nostalgia for Western games, specifically Red Dead Redemption, one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm just looking for a really good Western game to come up again. Now, again, Call of Juarez has seen its ups and downs, and something that doesn't bode well is the fact that typically I receive a review or preview copy of games a few days to a week before its release, at the very least, and I've heard nothing yet about Gunslinger. I have not received any callbacks, any further information about the game. I haven't received any preview codes, so I'm not really sure what that says about what they think about the quality of this title, but it'll be coming out tomorrow, and I'll definitely be giving that a look. Also coming out tomorrow is The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. This is the hack and slash action RPG featuring the son of Van Helsing. I did get a preview build of this game last week. I did a video on it, and I thought it was pretty good. It was a fairly decent hack and slash action RPG. I really enjoyed the environment. I really enjoyed the music. The gameplay itself was just pretty average. I don't think it was quite as good as something like a Diablo, but it's on par with other hack and slash action RPGs in terms of the visceral feel of the combat and the sort of the tactile response that you get from engaging in combat. But overall, I thought it was pretty decent. It's also relatively lowly priced at $14.99, I believe, is going to be the starting price. The Steam page hasn't listed the price, but the website shows that as the base price for pre-ordering, so I'm assuming that's going to be the final retail price as well. And then finally, for releases tomorrow on Wednesday is Fallen Enchantress Legendary Heroes. This is a standalone expansion to Stardock's turn-based fantasy strategy game. It features a new leveling system, spells, enemies, larger maps, and updated graphics. Seems interesting, although nothing that I'll be playing. That will be priced at $39.99. And then finally, for new PC releases this week, we've got two games on Friday, May the 24th. The first game is Elemental, the moody and experimental platformer that focuses on flow and smooth gameplay. It's a 2D platformer with interesting mechanics in the sense that you don't have direct character control, but instead you get to switch between these elements and use their inertia and momentum to actually make your way through the level. I thought the gameplay was pretty fun. It was challenging, and that's always a good thing. What's really going to come down to whether or not this game is worth it is how long the game is, you know, in terms of the number of chapters and the length it takes to complete it, and how interesting the levels get as you progress, because the gameplay mechanics don't really change throughout the course of the game. I suppose well, that might not be true, because as you go throughout the course of the game, you get to interact with different elements in the environment, so that could drastically change how you play. I'm not sure, but I really liked it. I thought it was a really cool platformer. It's only $9.99 as well, so it's fairly inexpensive. And then also on Friday, we are seeing the release of Dust: An Elysian Tale, a 2D side-scrolling action RPG set in the fantasy world of Falana. The game follows the story of the swordsman Dust as he seeks to free a village from oppression with his trusty sword and sidekick. This game first launched on Xbox Live Marketplace in August 2012. It got rave reviews from critics. It's supposed to be a really interesting story that the game tells. The combat's supposed to be pretty interesting, and it's got a rather unique art style as well. I'm really excited for this game to release this week. In fact, there's a few games. I mean, besides Dust, I'm also, again, really excited for Call of Juarez and Van Helsing. So it's a pretty exciting week for me. Can't wait to take a look at these games. Dust: An Elysian Tale should be priced at $14.99. That's how much it cost on Xbox Live Marketplace. All right, now that we've covered new PC releases, let's go ahead and talk about my planned content for the week. Alright, so of this week's new releases, so far I've already covered Elemental, and I plan to cover Van Helsing, Call of Juarez, and Dust. Potentially I might be covering Fast and Furious, although again my expectations for the game are very low, so I'm not even sure if it's worth the time. And I also might take a look at Resident Evil Revelations, because again I heard it was a fairly decent game. And then of course we've got our standard content in Friday Night Magic, and then the Force Feed on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And beyond those listed titles of new releases for this week that I plan to cover, there's always the potential of games that are in the alpha or beta that I get my hands on that I'd like to show you guys. So gonna leave that open-ended, but again, for new releases, my plan that I haven't covered already is to cover Van Helsing, Call of Juarez, and Dust. Alright guys, that'll do it here for this update video covering new PC releases for the week as well as my planned content. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.